What's up, Detroit? We are back with yet another episode. Like, it's been so much fun already, kicking back off. I guess we will call this the fourth season because we did 3 seasons. Again, this is our 10th year. First time being podcast, but it's podcast with video / audio, so it's still like TV. So it's all the same. And once again, we have my man Gary,
What's up?
back in the building.
Up? Yeah, I'm back.
And then we got my man Curtis. What's up, Curtis?
What up, though?
With the fly hat and the hoodie.
That's a dope hat. Love that,
It was
man.
Hockey Town, so I had to come with
Yeah, you had to come.
jersey.
Yeah, look, you remember they look like one of them Stinson models. You remember the
Yeah.
Stinson hats?
You know what?
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take that all day. I'll take that.
Tell us, before we begin, and that would kind of kick off things, the significance of your hoodie.
Yeah.
And the design on there, I know about it.
Okay.
But is it honeycomb or is it?
It's the honeycomb.
Well, tell us about that.
So we're talking about this golden ratio, this honeycomb, this one thing that's like, in nature that is perfect and symmetrical.
Okay.
It's created though by this bee that happens to be the thing that helps us all survive. Even if we are close.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the bees. And, the reason I use and call this bee creative studio, this bee, and put these hexagons, because I feel like, we are that perfect structure too.
Nice.
We have this ability to like be great, to be whatever our thing is.
Yeah.
And so I just, I created a company to just kind of outwardly express that and talk to people about, the hexagon and how, the 6 sides of it all, and, how the golden ratio is wrapped into it, and how I remind people that when they're trying to seek, this perfection, I'd be like, look, it's only a couple things on the planet that are, perfectly linear and perfectly symmetrical.
Yeah.
Right. So
real quick, the word perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I make references all the time. I'm a big Bible head. I love the Bible, and so I read it a lot and I talk about it. But the thing that really stood out to me is the word perfect in the translation. It was blameless. And that really took me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when I think of blameless, it just means that you're doing everything within your power that equates to perfect.
Yeah, man. Because I think I've been saying to a lot lately, like, you only know what you know when you know what you know. And I always take it back to, God rest, my pops, who, black man in America, when there wasn't no cameras and stuff,
Right.
I used to have this animosity toward him, you know what I'm saying? But recently,
You say you did
I
towards
used
him?
to toward him, just not being a better father, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I went through that as well.
But I think it's coming to I'm really thinking about like that saying of what you kind of just piggyback at what you said of just he only knew what he knew
Exactly.
when he knew what he was doing. He only had or he would have done better.
Yeah.
Right? In my eyes, because his better was probably his version of his best, right?
And so, not to get too into your personal aspect, but were you guys at a place of peace? Would you say?
No, when he passed, no, absolutely not. A reconciliation, no, and it's a a crazy story. But in the end of life, he needed me to do a favor for him, right? In order for he put stipulations.
Yeah.
In order for him to rest easily. So I had to come to terms with things because I had to let him go.
Yeah.
And you can get angry when you're like, you're the dad, you owe me stuff.
You
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was obviously, because it happened, it was supposed to be that way so I can, be in this space right now to really, because I'm today dealing with some other things that I think stem from, the relationship I have with my
For
father.
sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And we've talked quite a bit from the show, which we'll talk about the show, but generational wealth, right? But then there's another side to it, even before, I guess, generational wealth, if there was not generational wealth before, that's fixing something. But even before fixing that, you have to break something, which is the generational curses. You know what I'm saying? And me knowing enough about you and how you are as a father.
Mm-hmm.
Like we went through some similar things.
Yeah.
Like how do I not repeat who my dad was?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm feeling you on all
Yeah.
that.
And then it takes me back to that thing I was telling you about then, where you're just like, okay, when you step out, the reason I met you is because I stepped out. I stepped out of the question and stopped trying to not be like my dad. Because what happens when you're focusing on not being someone else, you're not focusing in on what you're supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So like I created this company
Missed
to
that.
kind of talk
Yeah.
to myself too. Because it's something I have to deal with, and having kids, it's just, everything's a first for me,
Yeah.
just like you, everything's a first. I'm about to take I just did orientation with my daughter up at Grand Valley State University.
Nice.
Shout out to my daughter.
Yeah.
I'm just being there I'm doing all these firsts.
Yeah.
I'm able to break the curse without focusing on not being like him.
Exactly.
And for a while, you just like, okay, if he turned right, I'm turning left.
Yeah.
Even though this was a good choice in this instant, I was
Yeah.
just trying not to do him.
Right. And you know what's great about
Yeah.
being, even though you are the first in some things, I'm the first too, you're not the last.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That
Because
part,
you've
yes.
changed the course of
Yes,
certain
that
things.
part, yes.
So it becomes more natural to our
Yes.
offspring.
I appreciate you
know what I'm
saying that, man.
Yeah.
I love that you just said that. Because that angle, man, I
Yeah.
needed that perspective for
sure.
sure.
And you said about how we met. So I randomly call you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
As I
I was wondering how y'all met.
And I
was just waiting
randomly
for y'all to
accepted.
get there. I was gonna ask you prior too, but I was like, why don't you go ahead?
Well,
and
so
start that?
but matter of fact, I hit up a mutual friend, our boy Mike Grand C, and that's what's so funny because Curtis and I, we've crossed paths, but we kind of grew up in the same area, in Ann Arbor or Ann Arbor, Ypsi, Lincoln.
When you weaved in.
Yeah. And so I hit up my boy, Mike, and I'm like, look, man, I'm doing this show. Like out of nowhere, I'm doing like this HBO kind of big thing, right? And I was like, it would be dope to be able to put like some type of mural on the house that could really represent, my family and the artistic kind of musical aspect of who I am. And he's like, I got the perfect person. You gotta hit up Curtis. You gotta hit up Curtis.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, what's Curtis's number?
Yeah.
So he gave me a number, and you and I we talked on the phone for some time, and it was really just like, wow, part of the conversation was we know this person, this person, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll turn it over to you. Like, what did you take from that initial conversation?
Man, I keep going back to this because it is the root of how I move. Losing loss, right? Loss, whether it's, for me, it's mom, dad, sisters, best friends, right? And then I through losing my parents, I lost my brothers because their connection to my mom and my father, they couldn't, the sustainable worth of life for them. So we, lost touch, and they're lost in the system where black men go. And if you know, you know. And so for me, it's I'm always searching for my brotherhood. I'm a hopeless romantic when it comes to life.
Yeah,
For real, man. Because I've had moments where I did not truly value this life, and the universe is always kind of art has always brought, and it's always kind of funny because like when I not so much now, but when I really was like devaluing how precious life is, even for myself, art would always bring me back.
Yes.
And so, as I got older, I was just like, and this happened, like I'm searching for my brotherhood.
Yes.
And then I started saying, okay, but not everybody deserves your energy, right? Not every.
No.
So,
Yeah.
So
You
then
gotta be
I'm like,
protected, though.
right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what kind of brotherhood do I want? Like, and as I work in the community, I'm like, I need brothers who are executing, moving, not just talking, and really making change. And so when first of all, shout out to Grand C Mike.
Yes.
Athletic Mike these when he
in the building.
Right. when he speaks on you, you know, it's a grand gesture. And he's to me like my brother.
Yes.
And so for him to say, this guy's gonna call you, I already picked it up, was like, so we were already boom.
Yeah.
And you know, he set it up too, like best dude. He actually, I don't know why I never linked y'all up, because you remind me each other. Y'all just been doing it in different spaces. So as soon as I talked to you, man, I got off the phone, and I'm my people tell you, I'm very emotional human being. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, universe.
Well, real quick to that point, you know, and I always try to remind myself that about being intentional, like being intentional, and of course, like the laws of attraction and all that type of stuff. But one thing that I think always kind of struck me, like, and I related to, like, you know, finding my fiance, you know what I'm saying? And like before her and Gary would know, like I didn't put out there what I wanted, you know, until I met her. And prior to meeting her, I said, you know what? I'm ready to get serious now. You know, this is my checklist. And if everything's not marked on this checklist, then I'm not moving, you know, and then when it is all marked, then I know that this is the move to make, you know. So I think that by you saying that you were at a place where I'm not just going to give my energy or think that I'm going to get what I'm looking for from every brother.
Right.
This is what I'm looking for.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I think having that intent, and I try to do that more and more. Yeah. You know, if opportunity comes, because every opportunity is not a great opportunity. It's not the right one for you.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
So but if you already have in your mind what you want and what you're looking for, and you speak it and you write it and you ask for it, you know, all that type of stuff, then when it shows up, you see it. You're like, there you go.
Yeah. Yo, crazy part is, you know, I was doing this other thing because, you know, I have many facets and many, you know, skill sets. I've been past this week dealing with, you know, because I stepped out of this art space and more into a creative movement, a space of where, you know, it was yoga, you know, leading the yoga class, a glow yoga experience, a glow yoga sound immersion experience that I'm creating.
Nice.
And even just sitting here talking to you, the realization of that, I stepped out of this art space, painting. And when I stepped out of this art space of painting, I was like kind of just, you know, uncomfortable because it wasn't this thing that I, you know, specialize in.
Right.
And, you know, for me to like, okay, I'm going to step out this thing, I'm going to step out this realm. I realized that, you know, when I do step out and I do something like yoga and it's not my wheelhouse, it's not something I'm, you know, constantly doing, and I want to try something new, I have to remind myself, like, I spoke things into the universe. Yes. And, you know, I have to take responsibility of how that happens and my intention. And so I had to set like back this intention. And when that happened, it was like, I need some art, and I need universe, I need some art. Yeah. Man, you called me.
And for the people who don't know,
back like, hey, let's get back in this.
Right.
I was like, okay, universe, I see what you do it.
For the people who don't know what we're referring to, we did a show on HBO, is through Magnolia Network, with Chip and Joanna Gaines, who they own the network. Yeah. I renovated my grandmother's home, in which I gave to my daughter, because my grandmother sold the house before she passed many years ago, and as a kid, I always thought like it was a mansion because we grew up in an apartment. You know, so every time we went to my grandma's house, there's this 3,000 square foot all brick house. This is a castle.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know, and so when I was a kid, it was funny. Like because my aunt lived upstairs and my grandma lived downstairs. So I would go through the basement and go upstairs to the aunt's house, and you know, that's how we would do. And I was like, man, you know, when I get older, they should give me this house, and I'm gonna turn it into one big old house. Yeah. And that's what I did.
You did.
And I was able to get it back, bring it back into the family, and pass it on to my daughter. So it's like for me, I was able to put it back on the track that I feel like it should have went. But a very big part of that show to me was your interpretation of everything that was going on, and to be able to express that in the mural. So kind of talk about that and the end result and all that.
Yeah, man. Like, first of all, like, again, publicly, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be in that space.
Thank you for doing what you did.
Man, I grew up. When you think you grown, and then you like, somebody's like, now you grown.
Right.
Right. And the experience for me, it's still so surreal to me, man, because it's still yielding this thing that went beyond the scope of what I had projected, because at the time I didn't know what I knew.
Right.
And so I'm just like, it was dope because, again, I made it small, and then, you made me break dance for art. And if if you know about breakdancing, breakdancing is about breaking limits.
Yeah.
Can you bend further? Can you twist more? Can you do these things? And you made me break art. Yeah. You made me push a boundary. Even though I've done murals that scope already, it was in the magnitude of what this space was.
Right.
It is the Magnolia Network and
Grandma's house.
And then you tell me the story about it. And so and that's kind of what I've been doing. It's what I've been doing all my life, is taking the interpretation of others and curating murals with my community, because it gets us all invested. In fact, the murals that I've created, they don't get vandalized because myself and the community, either we put them in, construct them together, or we all collectively have an idea, like you said, and to me, and I interpret it and put it up and put it in this space. So it's not even really mine.
Right.
It's yours.
Right.
I just closed my eyes and heard your lyrics and made an image out of it. Yeah. And then you said make it bigger.
What was the image?
And the image was, of like, so for me, it was like putting your family tree, and you wanted to infuse music, and I went and I looked at some jazz notes and I put them in there, and I was going. The intent was to show how, because I'm a portrait artist, and so I wanted to go in this portrait space, and that was another thing you made me kind of break out and show this level of professionalism that I hadn't never had to do before, to have clients, demand something so we all shine, but still infuse what I was doing. Yeah. You made me dig deep in that moment. And it wasn't like a week. It was like right now.
Right. He's got a way of doing that.
Yeah. You went there.
As long as I've known him. That sounds like him
you
for
went
sure.
there. Yeah. It was literally like right now.
Right.
Why everybody here? I was like,
now.
oh, okay, let me grab my stuff.
Today.
Man, I grabbed it, did it right then. I had like 20 minutes.
Right. I think it was on camera too.
So, did the thing and I put up, when I created the tree, I wanted to create this tree that was really like, really wise and uprooted and strong and could hold someone, another generation to play this song, and I put the city behind it, because, it was just like, what was so also amazing is, because again, I told you have no idea, I'm talking to, my colleagues and staff about how we, I want to go to Detroit, man. Like I want to be around my people more. I found that when I do parties in Detroit and paint parties in Detroit, man, I just feel so different, so good, Even though having a diverse group is cool, but when I come and I'm just around my people, I'm just like, wow, man, it's just I'm like, I need to do a mural there. I done a mural everywhere else.
Right.
And then this all happens.
Yeah.
And so not only did I have to show kind of the homage in Detroit, I had to put it in the picture as well, to just show, and the image was the house, how the houses are built. So that style of house is everywhere in Detroit.
Yes.
And so I wanted to kind of just infuse it all in there, and put the sun and make this golden hour.
Yeah.
Tie in the golden ratio. So I put in, the hexagons to show people how like we're kind of all built into this perfect structure that's imperfect. So I created these in my head, these hexagons that were same size and length, but how they undulated and how the strokes moved.
Yeah. I like that word, undulate.
Undulation.
Yeah.
Man, I try to throw it in there every once in a while.
I was messing up words earlier. So I'm going to keep that one.
Undulate.
I'm going to look it up first. But
it's how the curves and the...
like Gillette.
Every time. Here we go.
Undulate.
It was gelated. Now you undulated.
I know I'm complicated. But, yeah, man. But it was just a dope experience to be able to tie your ideas and put them in this thing and then create some movement in the negative space with it, and to do it all professionally in this time frame. And we need it done now. Fighting against the rain, logistics against everything else. It was hectic, but it was really dope because I leveled up still.
That's what's up.
Thank you.
Now from the show, what was the feedback? Did you get other kind of gigs from that? Okay.
Yeah, man. Mad gigs. Man, where do I begin? 15 years old, trying to get into the Ann Arbor Art Fair.
Okay.
It's one of the biggest art fairs in the world.
Yeah.
I said the lady which I won't mention her name yet, even if I even do, she didn't pay me.
Right.
to mention her name. But she talked to me about, how, first of all, how dope the studio was. But when I was 15, man, I was trying to get into this thing. You have to have jewelry and money.
Yeah.
To pay for these booths. And, so after a while, I just, if you're from Ann Arbor, you're like, Ann Arbor Art Fair, I'm staying out of town for the next 4 days.
Downtown.
Yeah, I ain't going downtown then. Where you want to meet? Outskirts?
Right.
And so when you surrender, do what to what's happening, to the flow of your own life, and you lean into passion and you tell the universe what you want.
Right.
So I'm like, I do this thing with you, check. Ann Arbor, check.
Yeah.
Colorado, check.
Yeah.
Check. All these things, check. And so like all these moments I'm trying to get into the Ann Arbor Art Fair, they end up calling me.
Yeah.
Emailing me saying, yo, we see what you're doing in the community. Would you want to team up next to, and I will say this because I know these cats, Clayworks and the DIA.
Nice.
And have you in the Be Creative Studio do the art activity space in Ann Arbor. And I'm like, let me see. Yes.
Yeah.
Check my schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, let me check. Yes.
I will be there.
Right.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations
So got that.
on that.
Yeah, man. And beyond that, it's just a different wave out there, man. You know, people are not talking about it, because it used to be, I see you in the community doing your thing. It's like, man, I see you on TV.
Right. Yeah.
Some stuff I can pause.
Yeah.
Go to the bathroom, come back.
Yeah.
To see you still
there.
Yeah.
In other words, the price went up.
Facts. You said it, and it did. And it did. You know, like
as it should.
As it should. Yeah. I broke art at that time. I'm not a break dancer, but I never man, I broke art. I was able to see how far I could bend.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm like, how much further can it bend? And
keep going.
So it's leading me into also, how do I diversify myself? And after meeting you, the things I saw just through osmosis that you were doing as a businessman, I'm like, I can do way more.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, because you've seen, and that's the thing that I always love about business people, right? They're not afraid to try. And they know that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
Like, I bought a pizza place, and it's the moment I bought it, I said, I shouldn't have bought this. But I still learned in it, you know? And then when I ended up selling it, it gave clarity on, all right, that wasn't the route.
Something what you don't want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let me get, but what it made me do is miss what I was doing before. You know what I'm saying? And believing that Because and right when I made that decision that okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sell, I'm gonna move on. That's when I got the next call from the TV station. We want you to do another episode. That's when you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be conscious. But I never regret any aspect
Absolutely
of
not.
doing it. And I will continue to make risk. You know, I try to make them not as financially risky. You know?
Yeah.
I need to pull out just in case. Like
what you need?
It's something when you get older. And your kids get older and this stuff is more expensive. You know, you balance that. Like before I used to tell people and that's what really got me going in real estate is that I would reinvest 80%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would live off the bare minimum and that whole delayed gratification.
Yeah.
But now getting married and all this, I need some current gratification. You know, it's cool to say you have X amount of houses, but you know,
if I ain't got
we
no
want
money
to go on vacation now. So, you know, and that's growth. That's growth and that's balance.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think that, you know, from a standpoint of I probably did it more in reverse because I was so excited to get into investment parts as opposed to, you know, getting a bigger place or, you know, a nicer car and all that. So now I'm trying to have balance in both.
Yeah. Same, man. Same. And it's been tough for me because, you know, I've been doing art since 10 years old, man. Yeah. This is my 36th year.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I've been in this lab trying to mix up the right art formula.
Yeah, right.
And I would love to say that it's the technology. Technology is a big part of how I'm moving now. Mm-hmm. Another part was me embracing it.
Yeah. And not fighting it necessarily.
Yeah, not
as
fighting
an artist.
it no more.
Yeah. That's important.
Yeah.
That's really important.
Absolutely,
man. Continue to grow and grow with the time, right?
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the other piece of the formula, the most important part of the formula is getting all the, putting all the distractions of other things, stop convincing myself this is not, my destiny and leaning into it.
Yeah.
Really hard, and there's moments that I have to remind myself that I believed in myself in the beginning.
Yeah.
And again, going through this conflict the last few days is I've been having this space of needing this validation from others to just make me feel like I've been deserving of what's been happening.
Right.
But the realization, just talking to you, and because I'm a grown man and I'm able to be a human, but I have to get to the soft, kind parts of what's really happening.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing that, I just have to give myself this grace to grow into this newer space. And as you get older, 36 years deep, you're like, there's more growing?
Yeah. Always.
Okay.
Hey, breathing is growing.
I know, man, but I'm tired.
I was saying that on the way here.
Right.
But I know this is a growth period, right? Yeah. Always.
But they always say that growth, you think of things and metamorphosis and all that, it's not comfortable.
No.
But it's transformative.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, my friend, so where can we find some of your events, your art, what's the .com, what's the social media,
so it's the becreativestudio.com. I'm trying to update it always. I have a glow yoga sound bowl immersion.
Nice.
It'll be the second one, just had one. And it's art infused in there, and it's really just a way for me now to help bring in the summer, join forces with some friends, learn how to not do everything by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things to learn that is to just start working with people. And we got some events there. I got a painting event coming up. It'll all show up on the Be Creative Studio.
Okay.
Or Curtis Wallace Art on Instagram, Be Creative Studio on Instagram, all the social media, TikTok, all that. And and then I'll see you soon.
Yeah. We got something else in the works. Some
absolutely.
Else in the works.
And that thing, brother, I told you, I'm gonna buy you a cake and make you a cake or something.
Can y'all share?
Right.
Can we share? Can we share a little bit?
Not
China?
yet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, stay tuned, Detroit.
I like that hook.
The industry is always evolving, so But and I've been looking at the hat. I love the hat, and I realized it was playing cards.
That's right.
That's in it.
That's right.
I thought it was something else gold.
It's a dope hat.
That's right.
I've been saying that since I got here.
I was like, huh.
Where can I find it? Where can I find that?
Wait
Is
a
that
minute.
on your website?
Is that just where you get?
And then when you turned your head, I was like, oh, okay.
It's a card. No, it's a card.
I was like,
Yeah, look out for some
some gold like that.
That's what I'm saying. Can you tell me if it's on the website?
I'm trying to own it.
Inquiring minds want to know.
It's a new wearable art. That I'm trying to put out soon too.
Yeah.
Got a whole lot of stuff going on, man. I'm gonna get you one. I'm gonna get you one. It'll be my gift to you. Now you just look. Now I know the gifts, and it's Detroit, so I love to wear them because here you got people like, man, that hat is fun,
right, for sure.
Can I reach in and get my plug in though? Can I
Get
have
your
one?
plug. Yeah.
Try to get me a hat too. We're still recording, right?
I got you, man. I got you.
Well, my
Appreciate
brother,
that.
thank you again.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for everything you've done in the community, everything
Appreciate
you
it,
did with
man.
my project and
Man.
the projects that we do in the future, and doing your thing. Always being true to you and
Man.
your team.
Appreciate
your team.
it. Yes,
Thanks
and my
for your
team.
team.
Yes, and my
Your
team. Yes.
Gary, as always,
Hey, always, man.
representing. Gary's been with the What's Up Detroit group 10 plus years, or 7 years actually.
About 7.
About 7
Yeah,
years.
about
That's
7.
close enough.
That's
We-
a good number.
We round
Still
up.
a good number.
Seven
Still a good number.
seven
I
a
like
good
7.
number, though.
That's a
Seven up.
number of completion.
But yeah, you do got to round up at this.
Right.
10,
That's
man.
10. Then when you're at
Go
10, you got to
10
round
years.
up again. That's pretty much 20.
Yeah. We had a nice run.
Right. All right, y'all. We will see you next week, Detroit.
Peace, Detroit.